Hey, you, yes, you, watching this right now. Are you really okay? I'm not talking about the polite, "I'm fine" answer you give to people who glance your way. I'm asking something deeper, something that sits behind your eyes when no one is looking, when your chest feels full and empty at the same time, when your thoughts drift into quiet corners of worry at 2 a.m., when you wake up tired even though you rested. Are you really okay? This video found you for a reason, not by accident, not by coincidence, but because something inside you, something profound, unseen, unsettled, is whispering, and silence. That whisper suddenly feels too loud. You might be dealing with disappointment, loss, confusion, spiritual fatigue, or that heavy sense that life has paused. Not in the dramatic, loud way, but in the silent, pressing way that erodes from inside. Have you ever felt that? Like everything around you is moving, but you are standing still, not because you're weak, but because something has pulled you inward, into a fog of doubt and question. These moments are not random. When life pauses you, it's not because your story is over. It's because your awareness is asking you to look closer, not at your circumstances, but at your relationship with them. You see, most people think struggle is the loud stuff, the visible hardships, the external battles. But there's another kind of struggle, a quieter one, the kind that doesn't announce itself with flames or storms, but with an ache that sits right between your thoughts and your silence. That ache is the invitation. It's the universe, or God, or the deeper part of your own consciousness saying, something is ready to shift, but you must first notice that you're not okay. Because healing doesn't start when things are good. It starts when you can look at what's true, even if it's uncomfortable. Think about the last time you said, "I'm fine," but your heart was saying something very different. What was really going on in that moment? What fear, what wound, what hesitation was buried beneath those words? No one is asking you to put on a brave face here. Not for me, not for the universe, not for anyone. I'm asking you to be real with yourself, because this video right now is not a distraction, it's a mirror. And when a mirror appears in your life, it's rarely for comfort, it's for truth. You see, there's a misconception that being okay means absence of pain, that if you're not smiling every day, something is wrong. But that's a shallow definition. Healthy people don't live without struggle. They live with presence through struggle. They don't say they're okay when they aren't. They say they are working on being okay. And that's a very different thing. So let me ask you again, sincerely, are you actually okay? Not socially okay, not financially okay, not spiritually, "I think I should be okay," but truly, deeply, transparently okay. Because if you're feeling tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix, if you feel disconnected from your own life even when nothing dramatic has happened, if there's a quiet heaviness that no one else seems to notice, that is not weakness. That is clarity whispering to you. It's the voice that says, you are ready for something deeper than the surface life you've been surviving. And that's why you're here. Not for inspiration that disappears when the video ends. Not for words that sound nice but evaporate in thought. Not for another message that makes you feel momentary hope, but for a confrontation with your own truth. A truth most people avoid because it asks, what part of your life are you refusing to examine? So take a breath, not the shallow one you take between tasks, but the deep, slow intake that reaches your diaphragm and reminds your body, you are still alive. Feel that sensation. Let it settle. Now ask yourself one thing. What would happen if you stopped pretending to be okay, just for a moment, and actually acknowledged what you're carrying? Because this video didn't find you to comfort you. It found you to wake you up. And waking up always starts with one honest question. Are you really okay? Let's dive deeper, and let's be honest. Not with your surface story, but with what's really going on inside you. You heard that question. Are you really okay? And something in you tightened, didn't it? like a chord being touched that you've been trying to avoid. That's not weakness. That's truth tapping on the door of awareness. Because, here's the thing, most people aren't broken. They're disconnected. They live in a kind of psychological autopilot. Wake up, scroll, work, sleep, repeat. And underneath that loop, there's a current of feelings that never got named: fear, doubt, exhaustion, quiet, grief, longing, frustration, disagreement with reality. And it keeps building, not like a loud storm, not like a moment of crisis, but like a slow weight pressing on your chest. A weight that doesn't stop you from functioning, but stops you from feeling alive. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you felt something deeply, not just emotionally, but spiritually? Not just in reaction to a trigger, but in presence of your own inner world. Most people avoid silence because silence reveals what you've been pretending isn't there. Silence allows the unspoken, the unresolved, the denied parts of your psyche to rise. And those parts, the ones you've tried to ignore, they're not waiting to be defeated. They're waiting to be integrated. Carl Jung called this the shadow. The parts of you you don't want to admit are yours. Fear of failure, fear of success, unhealed wounds, unexpressed anger, self-doubt disguised as humility. And what happens when you're alone with yourself? The surface thoughts stop talking long enough for the deep ones to speak. The thoughts you don't want to admit you have. The thoughts you push away with noise and distraction. Silence isn't your enemy. It's the amplifier of who you truly are. And that's uncomfortable because you've been living your life distracted from your own reality. You've been avoiding answers to questions you don't even know you're asking. Like, why does success feel foreign even when it's within reach? Why does comfort feel safer than clarity? Why does vulnerability feel dangerous? Why does your own potential feel like a stranger? These questions don't come when the world is loud. They come when the world is quiet. But quiet doesn't mean calm. Quiet means exposed. And people fear exposure more than they fear chaos. Because in chaos, there's something to do. In exposure, there's only you with your truth. And that is the exact place where transformation begins. Not with pressure, not with excitement, not with applause, but with honesty. Real courage isn't showing up for the world. Real courage is showing up for yourself when no one else is watching. So here's the real question. What part of your inner world are you avoiding just because you don't have an answer for it yet? Is it fear of failure, fear of being seen, fear of being misunderstood, or fear that you might actually succeed and then have to become someone you've never really been before? Most people don't fear failure. They fear transformation. They fear the unknown version of themselves. Because every transformation asks something terrifying. Who will you be when you're not who you were? And silence, that loud, still moment, forced you to see that question without distraction. So don't shy away from it. Don't fill your life with noise again. Don't become busy just to avoid your own answers. Sit with it, weigh it, feel it, let it teach you. Because the space between your thoughts and your feelings, that's where your real self lives. And if you can step into that space, even for a moment, you'll finally understand why this video reached you right now. Not for comfort, not for distraction, but for clarity. And real clarity doesn't come from more input. It comes from courage. The courage to see yourself without filters, without noise, without pretense. That's the moment you stop pretending to be okay and start living honestly. And that is where true transformation quietly begins. Here's where things get uncomfortable, but necessary. Once you admit you're not really okay, something shifts. The distractions stop working, the excuses feel thin, and the silence that once felt unbearable starts asking something very specific of you. What are you going to do about it? This is the moment most people turn back. Not because they don't understand, not because they're incapable, but because awareness demands responsibility. It's easier to stay numb than to change. Easier to stay tired than to rebuild. Easier to complain than to confront the patterns you've been repeating for years. Because let's be honest, some of what's hurting you now has your fingerprints all over it. Not because you're wrong, not because you failed, but because you adapted in ways that once protected you and are now suffocating you. You learned to stay quiet to avoid conflict. You learned to stay busy to avoid feeling. You learned to lower your expectations to avoid disappointment. You learned to survive, but not to expand. And survival has a shelf life. Carl Jung warned about this when he said that what we do not make conscious will rule our lives, and we will call it fate. Read that again, because it explains why so many people feel stuck without knowing why. It's not fate. It's familiarity. You're not trapped. You're conditioned. Conditioned to choose comfort over truth. Conditioned to repeat what feels known instead of what feels right. Conditioned to confuse peace with avoidance. And silence exposes that conditioning. In silence, you realize something painful but freeing. No one is coming to rescue you from the life you keep choosing. Not the universe, not God, not time, not motivation. Support exists, grace exists, but movement, that part is yours. This is where the real test begins. Because growth doesn't ask if you feel ready. It asks if you're willing to move while uncertain, to act while tired, to step forward without clarity. Most people wait for permission, for confidence, for certainty. But confidence isn't a prerequisite for change. It's a result of it. And certainty. It never comes first. It comes after commitment. So let me ask you something real. What are you waiting for that has never arrived before? And why do you believe it will arrive now, without you changing something? This isn't about forcing positivity, or pretending everything is fine, or manifesting your way out of discomfort. This is about ownership. Ownership of your patterns, your boundaries, your attention, your energy. Because the truth is, no one ruined your life, but no one is responsible for fixing it either. That realization can feel heavy, but it's also the moment power returns to your hands. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this asking of me? That shift changes everything. Because now you're not a victim of circumstances. You're a participant in your evolution. And yes, it's scary. Because stepping out of old patterns means disappointing people, losing familiarity, letting parts of your identity die. But staying the same has a cost too, a quiet one, paid daily, with regret, resentment, and the dull ache of unrealized potential. So the question isn't whether change is painful. The real question is, which pain are you choosing? The pain of growth, temporary, purposeful, alive, or the pain of stagnation, familiar, silent, endless? Because right now, in this exact moment, the silence is no longer just asking how you feel. It's asking what you're willing to change. And whatever you choose next will decide whether this moment becomes a turning point or just another realization you ignored. Sit with that. Let it sting if it needs to. Truth often does. You felt the weight. You faced the silence. Now, the question is, what are you actually going to do with all of this? Because awareness without action is just a burden. It becomes guilt. It becomes frustration. It becomes the quiet torment of knowing but not moving. And that's what breaks people. Not failure, not rejection, but the unbearable tension between their potential and their passivity. Let's be honest, you don't need another sign. You don't need more advice. You don't need permission. You just need to move. Even if it's small, even if it's messy, even if you're terrified. Because clarity isn't found in thinking. Clarity is found in doing. And the silence you've been sitting in, it's not punishment, it's preparation. But only if you respond. You keep waiting for the right time. But what if the right time has been waiting for you? That's why this video feels personal. That's why it reached you right now. Because there's a version of you that's tired of living under your own limits. A version of you that knows you've survived long enough, and now it's time to build. Not for validation, not for applause, but because staying small no longer protects you, it suffocates you. Look, you're not here to live half of a life. You're not here to silence your gifts, your voice, your story. And if you've been telling yourself it's too late, that you missed your chance, that you're too broken, too far behind, too uncertain, let me speak into that lie right now. You're not late, you're just now waking up. Everything before this was survival. This is the beginning of living with intention. But here's what no one tells you. Transformation doesn't feel magical. It feels like grief. It feels like letting go of who you used to be and trusting someone you've never met before. Your future self. That's scary, right? Because stepping forward means leaving behind what once comforted you, even if it was killing your growth. But comfort isn't purpose, and silence isn't safety, unless you learn to listen to it. So if you're still here, still watching, still feeling something stir in you, let me remind you, this isn't a motivational video. It's a mirror. It's a confrontation. It's your invitation. Because your life isn't waiting to change. It's waiting for you to stop hiding. The anxiety, the doubt, the restlessness, they're not problems. They're messengers, pointing you to the truth you've been avoiding, that you were never meant to stay where you are. So no, you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take one honest step. Not because you're ready, but because you're willing. You can still be scared and move. You can still be tired and rise. You can still be unsure and still begin, because this is the threshold. The silence is about to break, and when it does, what will it echo back? A version of you that stayed quiet, or a version that said, enough, enough shrinking, enough waiting, enough pretending. It's time to turn all this awareness into momentum, and that begins with your next step. This is where everything shifts, not because something magical happens, but because you finally decide to stop abandoning yourself. That's the real change. Not some overnight breakthrough, not a perfect plan. Just the moment you stop betraying the part of you that knows, there's more to me than this. Because there is, there always has been. You've just been waiting for proof, waiting for someone to pull you up, waiting for a sign so obvious it overrides your fear. But here's the thing, you are the sign. The fact that you're still here, still listening, still holding space for this conversation with yourself, that's not weakness, that's readiness. Readiness isn't loud, it's quiet. It's the whisper that says, I'm done living beneath my own potential. So let me ask you again, not to expose you, but to invite you. Are you really okay? If you are, then keep building. Keep showing up. Keep honoring what brought you here. And if you're not, then don't lie to yourself another day. The longer you pretend you're fine, the longer you delay your healing. There's no shame in struggling. There's no shame in standing still. But there's a cost in settling for a life that doesn't honor who you truly are. So move, not to prove anything to anyone, but to reclaim everything you've been burying. Reclaim your peace. Reclaim your voice. Reclaim your softness. Reclaim your strength. You were never broken. You were just buried under years of survival. And now you get to rise. Not by force, but by choice. Not because someone told you to, but because something inside you whispered, I'm ready now. So here's what I want you to do. If anything in this video spoke to you, write this in the comments as your declaration. I stayed through the silence. Now I move from truth. Write it not for me, but for you. Let it be your marker. The moment you stopped waiting, the moment you answered the question honestly and chose to become. The silence was never your enemy. It was the space where your courage was waiting to speak. And now, you're finally listening. You're finally moving. You're finally home.